Good morning. It's another beautiful Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Veronica Danikboy. I have my beautiful co-hosts with me. Hello, ladies.
And you are beautiful too.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I have something to say, but I'll reserve it for later.
No. We're starting with you today.
Nima, you want me to say it?
Say it. Go ahead.
You want me to say it?
Abi.
What happened on Saturday?
Nima dance, Abi. Nima dance.
Nima dance.
Videos.
Aside that, Nima hid chairs under the table.
I don't understand.
Why?
I told you it wasn't better.
Why? Now, wait. Why she did that now? She did that because, you know, there were no chairs. So when people were coming, that's those of us on the same table. She decided to get some chairs, kept some 2 chairs under the table so that when anybody comes, instead of standing, they will sit. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet.
That can be seen as sweet and bad. Because in corruption, you can be seen as hiding something with a good intention. Corruption is still corruption. We'll be arguing this matter.
National TV. Please, where is my camera? Let me say what happened. We got to where they stole our chairs right in front of my eyes. I didn't do anything. So when our colleagues came, they were standing. I felt bad. I went to ask the manager of the hall.
I said it was a good thing now.
She gave me 10. Before I would carry 5, they had already taken 2 out of them. So I had to become inventive and put my chairs under the table. It was not corruption, it's my chair that I collected.
Nice
I put under the table.
That was nice. She was more like a mother hen to everybody,
She's a mother
rushing
hen to
around,
everybody. You don't
getting
know
food, you know, ensuring we are comfortable.
I didn't get
Nima.
food.
You don't know Nima.
I didn't get food. We
Anyway.
had fun. We had fun.
Of course we did.
I'm still dreaming about the Ewagoyan.
Oh, gosh.
This people don't even know how to do party meal.
I miss.
No, but Okpe's mom is okay. So Okpe is our assistant producer. Our younger sister got married over the weekend. I wasn't there. Congratulations to you all. Our mom is a cook and a fantastic one at that. So I'm sure the food will have been fantastic.
We had 3 plates together.
She wasn't doing
keto.
She wasn't to our shock.
She
wasn't.
She ate enough for
Yes, that shocked me.
Then we had pottage later.
Okay.
This pottage, I even took meat from someone's soup and put inside.
Oh,
then later
true
we
confession.
they now announced they were going and dodo, and I was full.
No,
I forgot that I could have just taken away the plate with the one. I'm still dreaming about it.
So
Anyway,
Mariah's naming was on Friday.
Yes, I wasn't
And
there.
the turn up was
massive.
And not tell us baby's name. Nobody has told me baby's name.
Nje Gabriel Abi.
Hey.
The boy Nje Gabriel
Gabriel.
is a bobo. You know we have Michael before, now we have Gabriel. Complete the
Okay.
equation. Any fire, any devil you want to enter that house, the brown house. So there are 2 angels ready waiting for you. So it was a really beautiful ceremony.
And it's also a do.
And
These people don't
TVC
used to do
people,
traditional.
TVC people can party.
Hey, we
Oh
dance.
my goodness.
I
They
saw YK.
turned the place into Gomorrah, as in everybody was just, you know, it
No,
was
the
a,
thing
it was a
about
fun-filled
TVC
weekend.
people
We work
is
hard.
that
They turn up real
whenever you have an occasion, they turn up for
Real
you.
good,
And they
yeah.
make
It
you
was
have
fun.
fun. They make it fun for
It
people.
was.
But really, how was your weekend though, Oby?
My weekend was great. After the Friday party, I got home. Auntie Yenny tried for me. That's our YK. I couldn't get a
Who
taxi.
went for the Amazon event?
I couldn't make it.
Mariam couldn't make it too because of traffic.
Because of the Korodu. So afterwards, I couldn't get a taxi from Magodo to my end that night. I called about 4 taxis. They refused to go. So I had to follow YK down to her house. She got a taxi for me. So I left from her house to my house. I got home really late. And she tried.
She's a darling.
She's a darling. And she paid the fare for me.
Oh, YK. I want to be like you as I grow old.
I'm telling you, it would be unfair of me not to talk about the Chapman we had. The mix of drinks we had at Okpe's party as well.
Oh,
the lady
beautiful.
just kept taking pictures of me because I kept going back to get drinks.
How many cups did you take?
Everything that is keto compliant.
Hey.
Imagine my friend, she drank this one, mint leaf and lemon. We enjoyed our life. This is Korodu people.
So really, I think that Nigerians tend to enjoy parties. It's our way of relaxing.
Yes.
And I think it's good.
It's
I think it's really
interesting
good.
when
If you
you
don't have party to go, you can turn up inside your house, play music, dance.
Get a drink.
Just look for all this Lagosian
pepper
Korodu
soup,
party and have the kind of food you cannot cook in one day sitting down.
Obviously, we all had fun during the weekend,
Yes,
and I
yes,
hope
we
you did
did.
as well. But when we return, Front Page Reviews starts. Stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. Let's get down with the papers now. And the Punch, major headline on not going to challenge suspension in court. Buhari invites APC senators to Villa over CJN suspension. NBA holds emergency NEC meeting today. NJC meets Tuesday. Reduce vehicle import tariff to 15%. LCCI urges federal government. Family demands justice as police bullet paralyzes state agent. How Lagos prophet hypnotized defrauded me of 59.7 million naira. Victim. Wow. AMCON recovered 1 trillion naira from debtors in 8 years. Federal government. Police retired Deputy Inspectors General. Ekiti to arrest parents of pupils hawking during school hours. APC removes Okorocha as Imo campaign coordinator. Who has the human interest story first?
The families of this man, whose name I've forgotten the gist we had earlier, calling on the Commissioner of Police to assist them, the Commissioner of Police for Lagos to assist them to get justice. So around the Itire area, the police unit in Itire shot this estate agent. Wow. in the course of course not course of their duty, but trigger happy policemen, and this is costing him his ability to work, and he's presently hospitalized at the UCH hospital in Ibadan. They were chasing someone else, so it was a stray bullet. He is in pains, he's in the hospital, and they are not able to access any help. Already as it is, there are indications, according to the doctors, that he might never be able to use his legs again.
What?
And now he's defecating on himself because of delay in getting to the toilet. In his assistance, his life is no longer a life enjoyable as it is now, and someone should be held responsible for it.
Yes.
So I think and I know the Commissioner of Police, I know he follows up this kind of things, and I'm sure they will get justice.
We have to
see
a follow-up,
because just a few days ago I also saw policemen chasing an Okada rider and holding it. They didn't shoot, they held the gun. Like I was driving in my car and wondering, please, I don't want you to accidentally discharge bullets and it will hit me that I'm driving
because
by. Why would you hold a gun at, like you want to shoot someone because you're trying to catch someone riding a bike illegally on the expressway?
There's been several cases of stray bullets where some persons, even in their house, they just see these bullets,
Even when they stop private vehicles, they've stopped me a couple of times and they're pointing a gun at me to stop. I'm not running away. So I think they should be trained.
Let me quickly use that to talk about the Oshodi Expressway. I've been talking about the policemen there stopping cars on an express road, which is not right anyway. Now they stop some cars and drivers will just park in the middle of the road, causing traffic and putting other people at risk of accidents on the road. If you are stopped, park well, as in clear and park well, so you have a conversation with them. It's always good to have a conversation.
Who has
the second story? Yes, the fraud victim Oby Ezekwesili has explained to the court that he was defrauded of 59.75 million from a prophet, Ilongo. He's the presiding pastor of the Power of the Holy Ghost Evangelical Ministry. He's facing an 11 counts charge. Now, what happened was somebody referred him to the prophet that he could do miracles for him. So he went there. People were owing him. He wanted to be able to get his debt. So he wanted a prophet to pray for him. And then the man started asking him to get the blood of a ram, that the Holy Spirit asked him to get the blood of a ram. He should get candles. He was praying with powder. Well, this man actually works in a bank. So he was doing the jazz. The prophet was doing the jazz to get money from him. So he was sending money into his account till 7 million. So at the end of the day, now the case is in court. Though he reported to the police arrested him, but they released him afterwards. Then he took the matter to the EFCC. So he's been brainwashed. I think we need to start telling our people to study the scriptures for themselves.
That's
know
what
their
I was
God.
going to, know God for yourself.
Exactly. So you don't need to go to
59 million,
prophets to see
that's a lot
vision.
of money.
That's a lot of money.
You didn't discover him at 5 million.
People's money.
That's sad. Anyway, let's move on to the Vanguard now. Major headline: Onoge, NJC, NBA call emergency meetings. Neither Onoge nor acting CJN Tanko Ibrahim will preside at NJC. Senate cuts short recess, convenes plenary tomorrow. It's an offense, says Ikpomwe. Pandef urges boycott of courts as Niger Delta agitators back Buhari on CJN suspension. We have police retire 7 DIGs. We are not aware, says PSC. 1.3 billion naira deep sea port in Ondo create 20,000 jobs. Akeredolu Kwas reads right act to military personnel over elections, says violators of electoral laws will face Armed Forces Act. U.S. other Western powers to monitor polls with satellite. ASU faults federal government on 163 billion naira berates council VCs. NSC may review free float rule, maintain liberal delisting rule. Onogan PDP COP raise an alarm over plot to bribe lawmakers to destabilize NAS leadership. We do business to prosper stakeholders, Elumelu. So, who has what story?
Okay, the NJC story. Yes. So, all bodies, NJC, the NBA, the NJC has called for a meeting tomorrow of the NJC, which I expected to have been called much earlier because, you know, they had a meeting on the 15th of January, cancelled by the suspended Chief Justice, my Lord Justice Onogen. And now all the bodies are calling on the meetings. The NBA is calling for a meeting. The president has also called all the APC senators in the House, in the House of Senate, and, you know, everybody's getting together one way or the other. Nigerians are alleging that, you know, this is a plot to rig the elections, which my friend Tokwe here is saying that, you know, this election seems to have been rigged already. But I fear how this thing will happen. This is the first time. For me, this is the most embarrassing period of the judiciary in this country. As a law student, I've never read of this magnitude of, you know, monies being kept in a Chief Justice account, or this kind of allegations that are around the Chief Justice. I would expect, but we are not in those kind of climes where you have a resignation and proper investigations are continued. But everybody's politicizing and, you know, making sentiments out of these issues now.
When you say
the only thing wrong in the suspension now is that the procedure is that the NJC should be the ones to recommend that
to the House.
But if you see the magnitude of the corruption we're dealing with here, and the fact that over 90% of the NJC is constituted by the Chief Justice of the country is worrying. It means that we have a lacuna in our law as it is already. It means that we did not provide for when the person who has this sort of powers is being investigated himself, what should happen? The president, of course, is acting out of order as far as we are concerned as lawyers, because, of course, the NJC didn't have a say in this. But if it was the resolution of the NJC that, you know, that or the NJC was given the opportunity to investigate this, how long do you think it would take before we get justice?
But then another issue is the timing.
I have no issue with if there's a case of corruption, you know, you investigate, somebody is innocent until proven guilty, there is a concluded investigation on what is going on, then you follow the rule of law. As long as there's something shady about it, people would speculate on what caused that shadiness, and that's my own issue.
What is shady?
They are saying that it shouldn't have been gone, like it shouldn't have been removed. Like people are saying that it's not the right time for him to go, that it didn't follow the due process wasn't followed. All of this happening, if it is done clear, nobody will point a finger if there's no reason to point a finger.
I think we have to wait out this case because CGN himself has decided to take them to court this morning.
So let's wait and see what's... All right, the NJC is also meeting tomorrow, so we'll see what the resolutions...
The plenary session that the senators refused to have since they are having it again tomorrow. They didn't gather for budget, they are gathering for CGN.
Well. Anyway, who has any other story here? Nobody. All right,
I have the ASU story.
Okay,
quickly. So ASU is saying that there's a misinformation going on in the public now that they are the ones receiving the money, that no money comes to ASU directly. The monies go to the universities and the governing council. And so the university heads, the lecturers shouldn't just sit down and wait for them to fight before they receive. They should join that fight, and
in fact they should join by voicing
out.
They and the governing councils of the universities are the ones who would receive this money and disburse.
Let's go to the Nigerian Tribune. NJC to meet over Onoge holds emergency session tomorrow. Serap gives NJC 5-day ultimatum to take over case. Wike PDP Reps Caucus Middle Belt Forum kick PDP APC senators to square up tomorrow. Well, INEC to throw open situation room to observers, while Commission didn't redeploy Amina Zakari. FGM covers 66 illegal higher institutions. Onogen suspension, recipe for crisis and anarchy. That's a comment. Ekiti Tribunal, Fayemi Olushola, no fate today. Federal government to seize entitlements of AMCON debtors. Article Oby endorsement divides Ohaneze youth back Nwodo. Factional group calls for Nwodo's suspension.
So in a worrying account in the stories, the FG has uncovered 66 illegal institutions. That's the National University Commissions have uncovered these institutions. And, you know, the Minister for Education is also calling that, you know, they do the proper thing by, of course, removing them. I would expect that they are published because innocent Nigerians every day, according to that report as well, every time, only 30% of those who apply for JAMB finally get into the institutions available that are legitimate, and over 70% will be finding one place or the other to fix themselves. Of course, they are victims of this illegality and illegally constituted higher institutions in the country.
All right. Well, that's the much we can take from the newspaper headlines this morning. Next on Hot Topic, we discuss politics and social media. And later on, Let's Talk, we discuss the trending Oby Ezekwesili withdrawal from the presidential race. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Well, thank you for staying with us. Now, as 2019 is getting nearer, or 2019 elections rather, draw closer, people are coming out with their views. One of them is a Nigerian journalist, Oby Ezekwesili. According to him, quote, the election on February the 16th and March the 2nd will not hold on social media. So if you don't have business with voting, stop wasting your data. What are your thoughts on this? Join the conversation on 07080668014. Tweet to us at TVC Connect with the hashtag YourViewTVC. Ladies, the energy on social media when it comes to politics, it is vibrating. But when it comes to people turning up for elections, you don't really see people turn out for the elections. Well, these same people. You are rather see market women, you know, most of these people. But then, here is this journalist saying that if you don't have anything to say about politics, you're not coming out, just forget about it.
Imagine if it is those of us who are on social media posting and reposting things, and the numbers of us who are informed enough to put something in writing that are the only ones voting. Do you think this kind of politics that we're complaining about will persist?
At all. They wouldn't.
So we would sit down in our the convenience of our own, put together something. And even some people have PVCs among us, but we'll say, the way I'm looking at it, I don't have the time to go and queue. It's those people who think that the decisions these people would make at one point or the other affect their lives or the lives of their children or the future of their children, who make the sacrifices. And it's true. Every time you go to the polling booth, you see the ordinary Nigerian who doesn't even have time to sit down and do this.
Will you go out to vote on the elections?
Of course.
Will you go?
I have a question for him. Is it your data? Leave people that are using their data to use it how they see fit. While I agree with him that elections are not going to hold on social media, I also want him to understand that this is an era of social media. In as much as elections will not hold there, people are beginning to ask questions. If you follow up all those, there are discussions on, I was on Twitter yesterday, and I was amazed at what Nigerians were coming up with. People are asking questions. People are beginning to say, okay, we made a wrong choice before, now we can do better. We have a better option. We are seeing all this available. I know that elections are more in the grassroots. The electorates are not the one that even have the data to do all of those stuff on social media. But we are still praying for a time where we, the electorates, will have, you know, be given that option of the space, the social media for votes as well. So I think INEC should even be looking into how do we make this interesting to our young people so that even those that have that data and have the time can still do their voting, have the polls on social media as well. So if anybody wants to go there and you know, knock themselves out, it's their data. It's their data. So let's just...
Do you have your PVC? Or would you
go out to vote? Kind of question on national TV. What is
would you go out to vote?
Do you have your PVC, madam?
You don't know.
Wow. I support Oby. And why I do support Oby is because if we actually do a proper censorship of and fact-checking of the comments you see on social media, you would realize that 50%, if not over, of what you read online are lies. People spread false news, people pass on messages that are unverifiable, and they are nameless, faceless human beings you cannot hold accountable. these social media accounts influence people to the point where in the Brexit, they say that it was social media that swayed people into voting for Brexit. In America, people say Trump won largely because Russia influenced social media to move people. Social media is powerful. Social media has helped some people to get what they want and some not to get what they want. But in Nigeria, in the practicality of what is going on,
you have not been able to use it to influence the elections.
The most important thing, it worked last election. Yes. Last election swayed, social media swayed what was going on. But I feel everybody that has data and has the capacity to tweet and send message, can you knock on your neighbor's door and confirm what is going on? Because in reality, the last election, even the one before this last election, I was the one knocking on my neighbor's door to beg them to go and vote downstairs. They were not going to go and vote. The idea that we all will go online and be tweeting, sending messages, but we'll sit down. Even my husband was like, oh, this election has been, we've won and lost. The election has been decided. There's no need to do anything. Because of social media. So we take the comments on social media and assume that our votes will not count. And so people don't go out. I support Tope.
Do you know that when he made that post, the Tope journalist made that post, a lot of people accuse him of being a foot soldier of the APC. That when it was during the former president's time, they were using social media to propagate lies against him. But now it's their turn. Everything on social media has suddenly become fake news.
All right, hold on, please. Please. We have Ola calling from Ikoyi. Welcome to the show, Ola. Now tell us what you think. Ola, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hello?
Hello, morning. We can hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, the lady on yellow said a lot of things are going on. Yeah, said a lot of things are going on social media, on Twitter. And Nigerians are saying that they made the wrong choice before. And no, it's not wrong choice anywhere. That's my opinion. She should not talk upon Nigerians, please. That's my comment. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ola, for your contribution. Even though the lines were muddled up, we couldn't really make out what we were saying.
So I was going to say to Oby Ezekwesili that most people on social media, you'll be shocked, are not even in Nigeria. And we don't have a voting capacity for those in diaspora as it is now. Yeah. So we have a large number of people captured in these elections because they are not here, but they use the social media so well. As someone said, you can post anything, facts, fiction, whatever you like, you can post anything. People would read it and make up their minds. As it is now, some people on social media say, no, this election is concluded, already it's been rigged, based on whatever is in the polity, making it sense or making it ease. What is important is that you are aware of what is happening as a Nigerian that is on ground, and you have the power to vote. Most people who have the power to vote, where I take offense is those people who have the power to vote and are too lazy to get up to go and vote. The last elections, I remember I woke up early, I went there, I got there at 8. 8 a.m. At 8 a.m.
Because you had to accredit.
Because I had to accredit. And when I was done, I monitored, observed the process for a while, took a break and came back. I took my children somewhere to keep them already. And some people were wondering why she does standing. Some said, she's the journalist, that's why. But it's important that you observe the process through and through. I could say for a fact who won
they brought drinks. And they brought small talks and we were partying.
Hold on, hang on, ladies. We have a caller on the line. Welcome to the show. Go ahead with your contribution. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Veronica.
Good morning.
Good morning. And then good morning to the rest of the co-hosts.
Good morning.
For me, I think I agree with the person that put out those words. Because if you go on social media, if you read some certain thing that people putting on there, as the proper rightly said earlier, all false message, fake news, it is almost 80% of that message on social media, 80% of it is fake news. And then back to one of your co-hosts in the studio, I forget her name, Oby or something, if I'm getting it right. I think it is not Nigerian that say that made mistake in the last election. I quite disagree with you. I'm Nigerian, I voted for this present government, and then I think I made the right choice. And then I'll still continue to make that right choice. Thank you and God bless you. It's not Nigeria. It's individual thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Tokwe, I want to take you on the point you made that, I mean, if people are arguing on social media, you said the last elections was influenced, social media influenced the last election. So if it would, let people argue. That's how people get informed to an extent. So let them argue and then perhaps this will push them to come out.
You see,
if they want to make changes.
If there is no information, you cannot get information out of misinformation. If what you're arguing based on...
Are you saying that everybody arguing...
I am saying that I've read social media commentators, and I've read the ones that look like they're apparently paid to publicize some pictures, because you see those pictures are official pictures from events. And I
believe that Nigerians can decipher who is who.
No. And I beg to differ. And I'm not saying that Nigerians are not smart enough to decipher. I'm saying that the people that want to propagate misinformation are smart enough to decode it, and they will encode it in a way that you won't get it. What I want Nigerians to do is to be aware of the people that are contesting. Be aware of the local governments, your House of Rep member, Lagos State House of Assembly member. Be aware of your senator. Know the names across parties. So don't just go to pretty for party. Know the people you are voting for and find out what they are doing. So if your online presence is to be saying that I want to push these brands, these people, I want people to be aware of who they are, then you can do that. But don't just be coming to spread speculation.
Right. Let's quickly get Pius's opinion on this matter. Welcome to the show, Pius. Pius?
Hello? Yes?
Yes, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hello?
Good morning.
Go ahead. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning, every one of you.
Morning.
I'm a Ben follower of it, but I want to ask one question before I go into the topic for today. I've not been seeing Jumoke. I don't know what happened, really.
Okay, she's left the group.
Huh?
She's left the show.
Oh, I can't hear you.
She left the show.
She left on her own.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
She
left.
All right, we are talking about, do you have any contribution on this topic?
Yes, I have, but I'm a fan of her, so I just...
All right, because we are running out of time, so if you have a contribution, you can quickly go ahead to make
I'll stop now. What I want to say is, look, social media.
Pius?
I'm not here. Social media helped this government to come in at 2015. So why the complaint at this time? Let people write what they want to. Everybody has his right to vote. They can vote for the candidate of their choice. So forget about social media, whether people criticize or not. It's of no use. People are free to express their views or their opinions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pius.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
I wanted to just quickly hop on that and say that when I go on social media, I don't know who is selling what brand. They usually pick up what's happening in the country, what's happening in the news. Like yesterday, the CGN's taking the federal government to court. I saw on social media. So people discuss and just share opinions, like what we do here. So it's like saying we should shut up because we are not. Do you understand?
I get your point.
Anybody who wants to use their data to have a political discourse on social media should go ahead.
All right, next, quickly before we have to go on this break, because next we discuss the trending Oby Ezekwesili withdrawal from the presidential race. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Last week, the news of presidential aspirant Oby Ezekwesili was all over social media withdrawing from the presidential race. However, different views have accompanied this story as Nigerians are reacting both negatively and positively. What are your thoughts on this? Joining us on the show is a legal practitioner, Toke Benson Awinka. Welcome to the show.
Morning, thank you.
Morning. Good morning. Oh, yes, she's a former aspirant too. All right, join the conversation on 070-8066-8014. Tweet to us at TVC Connect with the hashtag YourViewTVC. Before you came on set, we were talking about Tokwe Ailero, that's a journalist, was saying that 2019 elections will not hold on social media. So if you don't have business with politics, stop wasting your data. What do you make of that statement?
I think opinions are being formed on social media. A lot of the information you get out there is on social media. You hardly get anything from the print media or from radio. Most times everybody's on social media. I just told Tokwe I heard Mariah had a baby on social media. So everything is on. The elections are actually holding or have held on social media.
But that's the problem for me, because people now they believe that the election has been held and has been won
and concluded.
So they feel that there's no need for me to go out and vote. What am I going to achieve by going out? And so they don't go out on the day. And most people that are on social media actually are the ones that don't go out on that day because they feel like, I've done my part. I've already had this conversation. It's a done deal.
Yeah, that's the mistake we're all making. We need to encourage, we need to go out there and do a voter drive. Because all the opinions on social media come into reality on the day of elections when we turn print. So true. If we don't go out there on the day of elections, everything we have discussed on social media will go down the trash.
It's a waste.
So, yes, it is a waste.
So let's get back to the business of the day, Oby Ezekwesili. She, several reactions have trailed her decision to step aside from the race as a presidential aspirant or candidate rather. But then what are your thoughts? Some have said that her decision is suspicious and she should apologize to the Nigerian women.
I think I'm looking at it from a very different angle. I am a politician and I went through the process. It's unfortunate, but Oby's candidacy was dead on arrival.
Oh.
Yes, and that's the hard truth. I'll take you back to the US when Hillary Clinton contested. Hillary contested on the platform of a known political party. Okay. Oby was just going to add her quota to the electoral votes. Nothing would have been decided in favor of Oby. And the reason why I say that is the political parties are very complex entities. And they have representation all over the nation. I'm sure if I have to ask Madam Oby or her political party who their canvassers or their agents are in Potiskum, they don't know. In Damaturu, they do not know. In Ifaki, Ondo, is it Ekiti State? They probably would not know. In Owo, they wouldn't have representation there. So how then would it translate to electoral victory?
But the party is it? Sorry, Oby.
Okay.
The party on which platform she was contesting was a known party. It was created by the present Senate president when he needed to, run against his father's choice in Kwara State. They have
ACPN, yes.
They've been able to build structure so far. The only issue I will have with this party is because of the circumstances under which it was formed. But it was a party that had structures already. It wasn't a new party.
Does it have councillors in
has it won elections ever?
Has it ever won elections? Has it run elections? Do they have present members occupying maybe state legislatures or federal legislatures?
Isn't that the narrative we're trying to change by having like a new coalition? Because we know that our politics has been, over the years bedeviled. You have to have that political structure. Now she's coming out to say you can actually go ahead with this ambition, not necessarily having the traditional political structures on ground, but have the people, have the manpower, have the young, and still make a difference. Isn't that the narrative?
A coalition would have made sense.
Okay.
Because then everybody would have contributed their quota. Maybe UPN is not strong in Taraba State. SDP is strong there. ACPN is strong there. So all of them coming together, putting their resources together would have made a difference. But as one single party.
So yeah, I feel I am one of those that was very disappointed in Madam Oby Ezekwesili, especially after I had gotten so inspired and by her debate, all the information, all the ideas. I felt, okay, wow, and at that point, when she now backed down, I felt really, really disappointed because one, you were the referee at a coalition that fell through. Then you came out to contest. Then you had opportunities to merge, and then you waited till last minute.
Perhaps that's why people are suspicious.
Yes.
So you waited till last minute to do. I'm not suspicious of her. I believe in her character. I sort of trust her integrity. I just feel that there's a bad decision was made somewhere along the line, whether to contest or to back out. A bad decision, bad timing had taken place. I am one of those that is disappointed. But you also have been into politics, and you were. We've heard women being told to step down. Not all of them will come out and say, I was told to step down. But some have said it, that I was told to step down. She might have been told, which is what she said, that our advisors and our sponsors said she should step down.
She was advised.
So why are we always, women, being advised to step down?
Wow. Well, if we take it from my angle, democracy is a selection process. And the selection process could be going to the polls in the primaries, or a group of party leaders or stakeholders coming together and saying, oh, we don't want to put our people through so much rigor. Let's sit down, put the narratives on the table, and see, okay, who is going to be the best candidate for us? The fact that I was not chosen as the best candidate to represent my federal constituency doesn't mean I will not work or support the interest of the party, or doesn't mean because I'm a woman. I don't look at it from the women perspective. Because also we have other women out there.
But ma, we all see the women stepping down. How come we only have only one woman?
Aside
Where?
Going for Senate, just one woman. House of Rep.
Oh, but we have just 3 senators.
How many women do we have going for the House of Rep?
This brings me to...
We have one, yes.
You see, we don't have enough representation of women.
This brings me to the
question. At
question
the same time, we only had like 7 women come out to contest.
Yeah.
So what happened to all the women?
Where are all the women as well?
This brings me to the question of women representation that we are talking about. Is it the climes that we find ourselves, or because we find this bottlenecks of religion, or we just say social, culture? How do we deal with these things? Do you change the narrative?
I think we need to. Well, I think it's starting to change with the not too young to run coalition. Yeah, because I see a lot of young people come together, and now we're not being stigmatized. Or when I was driving in this morning, I had a radio program talking about a particular company, and they were talking about programmers. And then he deviated and he said, well, because you're a woman, how are you bringing women programmers? And I don't think we should always have our narratives on our agenda. I want you to know me for who I am, and what I can do, what I can produce, what I'm capable of doing. I went to a law school graduation in the last, I think it was Oby Ezekwesili or something. We had about 110 graduates, and I think about 21 of them came out with a first class. No men. At the law school too, in Abuja, they had like 100 and something girls with a first class. So we're already breaking out of the shell.
Have we really broken out of that shell?
I think we are breaking out of the shell, because now we set the pace. We create the yardstick.
But not, it's the impact. The impact is not yet in politics.
The culture holds women down. And I've had this discussion somewhere before where I said, well, it's unfortunate that in the Southwest we say we're very progressive, or in the South we say we're very progressive. But when you look at the National Assembly, you find that the women who are representing are from the Northeast and the Northwest, majorly.
Yeah.
So it means that we still have to work on our psyche down here. I remember the late former governor of Ekiti, Mrs. Fumi Olayinka, once said, when she said, oh, it's okay, but you're married to an Ekiti man, don't you want to play politics in Ekiti? I said, no, I'm fine with it. Said, oh, in Ekiti, we were looking for women to come out as commissioners. We couldn't find any. We had to go beg a husband to please give us his wife.
Wow. All right, we'll continue this discussion when we return from the break. Do stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
All right, we still have our guest in the studio, and the question is there any hope of us in Nigeria having a female president?
That's a long
Maybe I'm going to be the first female president.
Of course. And you were talking about how the strategic meetings in these political gatherings take place in the middle of the night, carefully scheduled consistently over time, so that it will be impossible for women to be involved. Because really, how many women, married, responsible, will be able to attend meetings that will be ending 3 a.m. back to back every night? How many?
Not a lot of women.
So
not a lot of women.
I wanted to continue with the Oby Ezekwesili issue. The party, for me, did something that was, counterproductive. They left because she stepped down and immediately worked for a party against what she intended, because she said, I stepped down to form a coalition. Now, even though it was ill-timed, but she was willing to do it at that time. And the party was like, no way, since you're doing this, we are going to continue with the present, the incumbent candidate. Yeah. And they went further to start to accuse her of certain monies donated for the election. Yes. How do you see this counter intentions? How do you see it? How could it be possible if they had an ideology for the party itself? Because I would expect the Labour Party, of course, to have something they believe in. The APC should have something they believe in. This party, what did they believe in? That, ideology. Of course, that people don't align with.
Okay. And to add to that, it's all of these accusations that she has mentioned. Do you think it will smear her image in any way?
I think Madam Oby has been known for her integrity. I mean, she started the due process. Until date, we still pride over the due process, that policy that she started. I believe that Oby has a strong followership that is still intact. And it's very difficult to read through the lines to see who is actually speaking. Although we can speak for Oby's integrity, we don't know what went down there. Obviously, political parties have to go out and raise money. It costs a lot of money to want to be president of a country. Not even Nigeria, where we have so much going on all over. So I still think her integrity is intact. We shouldn't take away from her. She has probably gotten to a place where she's like, okay,
more than we can see.
Precisely. I can't go any further. And who knows what arrangements or agreements her political party wanted to go into, which she couldn't.
Yes. She has seen more than we can see.
So we're not seeing what is really going on.
Let's quickly take this call. Welcome to the show. Let's hear your contribution.
Good morning, Veronica.
Good morning.
Good morning to everyone in the studio.
Morning.
Let's see this medium take competition to Morayo and the arrival of family studio. And let's go to the subject matter. And what I do is on the ground that the social media has the advantage and that's today. But like the right said, that same platform that was used during the current administration, but of today, they look at that avenue, at every corner of that avenue as fixed.
I'm afraid I have to let you go. The lines are not really clear. Perhaps you could call again to make your contributions. Thank you. Oby, so, you wanted to ask a question.
On Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, her party came out to accuse her of not carrying them along. They still talked about the finances she's gotten, $5,000 and 35 million. She said she spent 29 million and all of that. That is there. Then my question is, why did she wait till 23 days to go before stepping down? She is someone who's been in government. She knows the policy. Better. She knows the law. So if she's been having talks, I don't believe the talks started. The talks could have been going on for a long period of time. No. I expect, if you have come to that level where you've come out to do the debate, you've told us what you want to do, you've raised a lot of people's hopes, why did you now decide to step down just a few days to?
I'm going to speak from the political point of view as a politician. Those candidates knew they were going nowhere. And it upsets me that you raised the hopes of Nigerians. I mean, it was good that they dared.
Shouldn't we be hopeful? Why are you upset they raise our hope? We want to be hopeful.
Well, now your hopes have been dashed. Your hopes have been dashed, and then you go back to square one. Well, it's good in the interest of my party, because at least the endorsement was for my party.
This is not a campaign platform.
Precisely.
But would that be possible if the coalition was done much earlier?
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. Raising people's hopes.
And then dashing it.
Their election was held on social media. I spoke about it from the onset that look, they don't even know who the agents, the canvassers. I can talk about Fela Durotoye. And I'm like, oh, he's best suitable for the pulpit.
Hey, we'll take a few tweets. Alex says, unfortunately, as good as it may seem that women are blazing the trail, I think that's what he wants to say, they seem to be working against themselves. What I do not know is whether this is peculiar to us in Nigeria. Andrew Yensim says, I'm not impressed by it. Okay. Oluwa Mayowa says, it is obvious that one of the co-hosts is too emotional. Hey, he says, the guest says that I don't think, the guest said, I don't think we should have our narrative be on gender. Please tell that to the co-host mentioning our name. I think that your people are going to pick on that word because they feel that we've always been supporting pushing a gender narrative. Okay. Do you and you have obviously said that we shouldn't push a gender narrative, we should push a narrative of who's the capacity. But the truth is, unless we are tested, how do we build the capacity? Exactly. Yes. Unless we are giving the platform, how do we build the capacity? The men don't need to worry about gender because the platform is for them to aspire. We are the ones that are having to worry.
Something? And most times they ride on these women to achieve that. Something?
When I contested and I pushed out the narrative of being a woman, I was laughed at.
Why?
I was laughed at because they expect me to be equal or be at par with that gentleman or those gentlemen I was contesting with. So if you go out there saying, oh, I'm a woman, give this to me, you hardly ever get it. That's why I said, look at the law school graduate list, 100 and something female students. I'm proud of them. And then we ask, where are their men? They're singing, they're sagging their pants. But we are trailing the blazing
the trail, yeah.
Or blazing the trail, or what? Excuse
so
me.
will we blaze the trail come 2023?
Come 2023, we're prepared. I mean, 2023, I could decide I want to run for president. But it has to be in a known party.
All right. We have to go now. We have to go. Thank you so much, Toke Benson Awinka, for coming to the show. Thank you so much. And thank you, ladies. I'm sure we had a great time. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show today. Have a fabulous day. Bye for now.